Hello, my loves. I'm going to try not to make this video too long, but y'all know I always say that, and then I start talking, and then we be here for like 30 minutes. So I'm not gonna make no promises, but I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try not to make this video too long. Um, this is annoying. I have to plug my phone up to the charger because my battery is low and it just don't want to sit how I want it to sit to not be on my altar. Okay, I think we good. I just want to come real quick and talk to y'all about boundaries, okay? If it's one thing that I've learned over my 31, almost 32 years of life, it's how to set great boundaries and stand on it. Everybody wants to talk about stand on business, stand on business, stand on business. It's not about standing on business. It's about standing on your boundaries, okay? It's about standing on your boundaries. We create boundaries not for other people and their comfort and what they expect of us and how they expect us to react and behave, but for us. So knowing that your boundaries are for you, for your triggers, for your sanity, for your peace, you cannot be concerned with how your boundaries are affecting other people. You just simply cannot. Okay? It don't work. Okay? Now, with that being said, I've been telling y'all since the beginning of the year, this is a 7th year. It's very spiritual. We need to focus in on our discipline, our habits, our spiritual routine. I still stand by that. Okay? I still stand by that. How does this tie into boundaries? We're going into 2024, babe. We got about 6 more weeks in this year. It's almost 2024. 2024 is a year of 8. Okay? You know what 8 represents? Karma, rebirth, redirection, growth. Okay? And what we're going to need to maintain positive and progressive and peaceful karma is boundaries. And it's not going to always be easy to stand on those boundaries because some people, places, circumstances, situations, jobs, clients, it's going to have to go. But it's very important that you stand on business when it comes to your boundaries. Because at the end of the day, when you continuously allow people to take advantage of you, to disrespect you, to treat you any type of way, to bring you into their chaos, when you continuously allow people to do something, they will keep on doing it. What you tolerate, you very much encourage. And if you don't want to tolerate it anymore, then you can't be encouraging the behavior and accepting it. And the quickest way to redirect that is to tell somebody, you know what, this is completely unacceptable. I'm not going to deal with it, and stand on it. And some people care enough to say, you know, I actually value you and I respect you and I want to have you as a part of my life or my company or whatever the case may be. And they'll adjust, they'll adapt, you know, to your boundaries. They'll respect it. It may be difficult at first, but they will respect it. And there are other people who don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. And when you say, you know, I'm not going to stand for this, this is unacceptable, I'm going to go ahead and bounce out of this situation and roll out, you going to roll and they going to let you roll right on. And in your mind, you might be like, oh, maybe my boundary was a little too tough. Maybe I should have been a little bit more distant. Easy. Maybe I shouldn't have been so distant and cold. No. You did exactly what you needed to do because this person is showing you exactly how they feel about you and who you are. And I'm not saying that every single boundary that you set should be non-negotiable, because sometimes we set boundaries based on our ego that block us from certain things and get in our way. But most of the time, the boundaries that we set and need to stand on are to keep us in a space of peace and progress. And if you're not in a state of peace and progress because of other people, because of jobs, because of situations, because of things that are not in your control, you need to set better boundaries with those things. And if you don't have the capacity to set better boundaries and stand on them with those things, you have to let that shit go. Okay? You gotta let that shit go. In 2024, I'm gonna be on the upside of the 8. I don't know about y'all. I always talk about the progression from 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 to 7 and then to 8. I'm not going to talk about that in this video. If you want to learn about that, I'll talk about it in another video, or you can go back in one of my older videos where I talk about numerology. But the whole point is, you got the upside of the 8 and you got the downside of the 8. 4 is a point of stabilization. 4 is not about growth. It's about solid foundation, consistency, security, discipline, stability. Okay? When we move into 5, it's we gotta move, we gotta bob, we gotta shake, we gotta transform. Sometimes it might be a little chaos, it might be a little struggle, but things are just being moved around. When we get into 6, we get a break, a breath of fresh air. Things feel good, even though they may not always be good. And even though we know we still have a long way to go, we feel content in the fact that we've come a long way. But baby, when you get to 7, which right now we are in a 7 year, I want to remind y'all that it is 2023, okay? 2023 equates to 7. That's why it's a 7 year. When we get to 7, we got to be willing to assess. We got to be willing to release. We got to be willing to redirect, reorganize, restructure, re-strategize. If we are unwilling to do that and we are so dead set in staying in our old ways, we're going to end up on the downside of the 8. If we're so dead set in staying in those old positions and old beliefs and that old attitude of just not knowing what your heart's desire is and not really feeling like you have the options that you have and feeling overwhelmed and just discomfort. It ain't nothing wrong with being uncomfortable. We all need to be uncomfortable, but at the same time, not discomfort to the point where you're miserable. That's not fun for anybody, and it's not good for anybody, and you can't be positive or productive in that state. And that's, let me reverse that. I didn't mean to say positive, I meant peaceful. You can't be peaceful and productive in that state. And when I say peaceful, I don't mean no kumbaya shit. I mean having peace of mind, being at peace with who you are as a person, being at peace inside your own body. Okay? Because sometimes everything can't be kumbaya with motherfuckers, especially when it comes to standing on business. So I want to encourage y'all to take the time to really weigh out your options, assess where you're at, especially emotionally speaking. The shit that you can let go of, I think you better let it go. Looks like another love TKO. Let that shit go. Okay? The shit that you don't know how to let go of just yet, but you want to let go of, prioritize and pray about finding a release for those demons. And give order to everything else that remains. So that when we go into 2024, when spring equinox comes around March of 2024, you can be on the upside of that rebirth. You can feel like you're ahead of the game. You can feel like you're behind the whip driving it instead of in front of it getting your ass beat. And it may sound like I'm fussing at y'all, but I'm not fussing. I'm just passionate about this because I tell y'all all the time, yes, I'm only 31. Yes, it seems like everything's great for me. I'm walking in purpose. I have a great marriage. But I've been through a lot of shit and everything is not fucking perfect. But what keeps me peaceful, what keeps me productive, what keeps me climbing the ladder of success, of happiness, of self-awareness, of self-improvement, of fucking me is boundaries. Because I'm not going to accept just anything from any and everybody. And I'm not talking about tangible things. I'm talking about behavior. You're not going to treat me certain types of way. You're not going to talk to me certain types of way. You're not going to continuously expose me to certain situations and I'm just going to sit down and eat that shit for lunch. I'm not going to do it. Because those things are not for me. I don't put myself into those types of things, so I'm not going to do that with you. Y'all really need to figure out who you are and what you stand for. A lot of y'all are just floating through life, not knowing who you are, not knowing what you stand for, not knowing what you accept and what you don't accept. And then you wonder why the world is running all over you. You don't have no boundaries. Some of y'all don't have sexual boundaries. Some of y'all don't have mental boundaries. Some of y'all don't have intellectual boundaries. Some of y'all don't have verbal boundaries. Some of y'all don't have business boundaries. Set boundaries. For every aspect of your life, you need boundaries. You need to have some shit that's, I'm not doing that. We're not doing that. You're not talking to me like that. Do not address me in that manner. Don't walk up on me like that. You need to have boundaries. Don't touch me like that. You have to have some you either gonna stand for something or you gonna fall for anything. And I'm not a fall for anything ass bitch. And so the people that's with me, I don't expect y'all to be fall for anything ass bitches either. We're very much, I'm a goddess and you're gonna treat me as such. That doesn't mean I expect you to get on your knees and worship me every time you see me. That doesn't mean that you have to be singing my praises and never tell me when I'm wrong. But what that means is you're gonna hold a certain reverence and respect for me because I hold that same reverence and respect for you. And if we have a disagreement, we're gonna address it the way that it needs to be addressed. And things are not going to get ugly. That's what that means in terms of relationship. In terms of business, that means I'm going to go ahead and go and do my job and do what I'm good at. I'm going to service my people. Okay? And that can apply to you as well, whatever business you're in. I'm not just talking about me. But at the same time, I'm not going to do certain things. And y'all that have been with me for a long time, y'all already know the things that I'm not going to do, what I'm not going to accept from y'all. I'm not going to go into it in this video, but y'all know. But you got to have boundaries. Y'all need to get very clear. Y'all need to get very clear about who you are and what you're standing for. Because as we move into 2024, y'all think 2023 has been chaotic. I'm telling you now, things are going to get a little bit more hectic. That doesn't mean that it's going to be doom and gloom, but I'm just telling y'all, things are going to get a little more hectic on a collective level. And if on a personal level, you don't have the proper boundaries, you don't have the proper values and morals to stand on, you're not disciplined, you're not consistent, okay? You don't have the virtue of having enough respect for yourself to know when to say no, you're gonna be in some fucked up situations. perfect example on a collective level of this is TikTok. I got on TikTok in 2020. I liked it. I liked the fact that it was authentic, creative content. People were just on there having fun. I like to dance. I love music. So the fact that I could go on there and be cute, dance a little bit, and share affirmations or share a message for the day or whatever the case may be, I liked that. But what got me off of TikTok in the last year is everybody's doing the same thing. Every time you scroll on TikTok, everybody doing the same dance. Everybody's cooking the same food. Everybody's trying the same products. You got people on there doing fucking NPC lives for money. Those are boundaries that, for me, I'm not interested in crossing. And I'm not knocking nobody for their hustle, okay? Some people make good money on TikTok doing what they do. I'm not knocking nobody for their hustle. But at what point do you say, I don't care, I'm not doing that for $1? Because other people are going to see this, and then they're going to start doing this, and then it's going to become a whole movement. And now there is a whole movement because it's a whole fucking host of people on TikTok acting like fucking video game characters for money. For hours on end in a day. Wasting their brain cells, wasting their talent. And then the people that are paying for this, let's not even get into their lack of boundaries, because make it make sense. How is this adding to your life? We really need to get for real. I feel like people are really starting to confuse the internet and reality. And I want y'all to understand that if we don't set better boundaries, everything is going to eventually become artificial. And I'm not talking on some anti-AI shit. AI has been here, is gonna be here. It is what it is. I'm talking about us as humans having boundaries as to where do we draw the line. When do we say enough is enough? When do we say we want better for the children? When do we say I'm tired of losing brain cells and wasting brain power? When do we say I'm tired of the violence? I'm tired of the chaos. I'm tired of the fake outrage. I'm tired of the victimization. Like, when is enough enough? I want to encourage you to sit your ass down and figure out what your boundaries are, what your values are, what are you standing for? Okay? And before we go into 2024, have that list concrete and make it non-negotiable. And I'm going to go ahead and leave y'all on that. I feel like I want to pull a postcard from Spirit, so I'm going to pull a postcard from Spirit. But I'm going to leave y'all on that because we already 20 minutes in, honey. See? And I only planned on being here for about 15 minutes. Dearest you, as you think, so you will experience life. Thoughts are that powerful, and they need minding. Let the unruly, chaotic ones settle down so they serve you or get released instead of wreaking havoc. These thoughts arise when connected to the energy of fear and often masquerade as the truth. Yet the real truth is that essentially all is well. Of course, you have thoughts that are positive, strong, organized, accepting, creative, open, and so on. Those are the ones that we want you to keep thinking, and they have a less frantic quality. They're stimulating in a good way and don't get away from you. How do you keep your inner eye on your thoughts? Meditate and leave judgment out of the mix. Everyone has those fearful thoughts. Love them, love yourself, and then choose the thoughts you want the world to reflect back. Life is not as hard as you think. Loving you so much. So before I end this, I'm going to say this. You attract exactly what you focus on. People try to make it seem like that's so cliche, but it's a fact. It's a fact, and I've noticed it in my life time and time again. I used to work at a phone company, call center, called CenturyLink. My job was good. I made like upwards of like $50,000 to $60,000 a year just answering phones, talking about internet and home phone service. And I was like 21, 22 years old, making that much money. So, I mean, it wasn't like I was balling because I lived alone and I had to pay all my own bills and all that shit. But I was doing well for myself. I wasn't wanting for nothing. And that was way before I got with my wife. So it wasn't like she was helping me pay bills or any of that. Like, I was on my own. And I that job was good enough for me. I was happy to go there Monday through Friday, occasionally on Saturday for some overtime, you know, party on the weekends, go back during the week, do it all over again. I was happy to do that until I wasn't. And then guess what I did? I stopped focusing on that job. I started focusing on, okay, what am I going to do next? I think I want to be a massage therapist. I want to get more into my holistic healing bag. What can I do to do that in a practical sense? Okay, here's what I'm going to do. Went to massage school, started focusing on that, and then I said, I don't want to work for anybody doing massage. That's typically what people do. They finish massage school, they get their license, they go and work at a massage parlor. I don't want these people paying me $15 an hour, $20 an hour, when I can make $60, $80 an hour on my own doing massage and just traveling. So me knowing that, I'm like, I'm not going to be able to do full-time massage therapy. I'm going to have to get another job. I was tired of working at the phone company. I decided I want to work in insurance because it's a good job. When you decide to work in insurance, whether you're going to do sales, whether you're going to do claims, if you find a good insurance company to work for, usually like the money's good and it gives you what you need. So ended up getting a job at Progressive, left my job at the phone company. Progressive was paying me well. The job wasn't too far from home. By this time, me and my wife had got together. She had moved down here. I was like 27 or 28, something like that. And, you know, things were going well. All those things that I focused on, I was getting. Well, about 6 months into me working for Progressive, I really was getting deeper and deeper into my business bag. So I was focusing on business. I was focusing on getting massage clients, doing events, booking readings, advertising my readings by doing lives. And eventually it got to a point where I kept on having to call out of work, or I would spend my work hours doing readings and all of those things. And then guess what? I got fired from Progressive. And at first I was hurt. I was like, I really needed this job because I'm not making enough money to do my business on my own. But apparently this is what I need to focus on. I wasn't ready to be a full-time entrepreneur at that point. So I went and got another insurance job. And even at that job, I felt like it was hard for me to pay attention to at work because I'm so focused on business. And then eventually it got to a point where I started making more money in business than I was making at the job. Just because I changed my focus. I got married 2 years ago and I've been focused on my wife. My marriage is great. But because I've been focused on my wife and she's my main priority, sometimes my business suffers. What you pay attention to and focus on manifests. It expands. So you need to be intentional about that. And when it comes to boundaries, values, morals, you got to figure out what you're going to stand on. Because when you combine what you're standing on with what you decide to focus on, you have nowhere to go but up. When you don't know what you're standing on, you don't know what you're focusing on, and you don't have any direction, guess what? You just get up every day and let life happen to you. And guess what? We're not doing that. Okay? Period. Now, I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Y'all have a good day. And if you can't have a good day, like Auntie Tab say, don't go